It's time to start your morning by taking 5. Here's your host, Matt McMaster.
You're listening to Take 5, a quick 5-minute take on the biggest things happening in Nebraska sports. I'm your host, Matt McMaster. We go once again to Nebraska Basketball today after they suffered a embarrassing defeat. And frankly, embarrassing isn't a good enough word to describe what happened yesterday at the Bryce Jordan Center when the Nebraska basketball team lost to the Penn State Nittany Lions. The Penn State Nittany Lions hadn't won a game in 7 straight contests. They'd actually only won one game dating back to January 2nd. And Nebraska basketball on the road to the NCAA tournament, on the road to finally get the monkey off their back and win an NCAA tournament game. They're the only Power 5 team remaining in the country who hasn't done so. On that road, stumble hard against a team that they should have easily have beaten on the road. A team that, despite the fact that Nebraska basketball did not have one of their key pieces in Berke Buchtegel, should have defeated. Penn State came out, and I don't even think Penn State played that well. I think it really just boiled down to Nebraska basketball looked like they didn't want to be there. They had about, 6 turnovers in the first 7 possessions of the game. Foul trouble early, sloppy basketball, bad turnovers, just bad play top to bottom. There was no silver lining of yesterday's game. And the best way to describe it is they got out everything. What I mean by that is they got out hustled, out rebounded, out efforted. Just everything that could go wrong and that we've seen go wrong with this team in terms of culture and effort went wrong yesterday. In a game where, did you have to have it yesterday against Penn State in order to make the NCAA tournament, in order to lock yourself into the NCAA tournament? No, but it would have been helpful. And now the path to not being in a play-in game, to being the 10th seed, gets a little bit tougher. They take on Michigan in their next game on Monday at Pinnacle Bank Arena, which would be a massive win, especially if Michigan is able to defeat Michigan State in their upcoming matchup. Well, they'll be ranked really, really highly coming into Lincoln if that were to happen. That could turn your season around. You have another opportunity with Ohio State and Iowa, and there are some chances still. The season isn't over, but man, when you saw yesterday, had to just completely whittle down the confidence that you might have in this team. Going all the way back to that 6-game losing streak. I mean, there was some major problems in that 6-game losing streak, not only from just a on-the-court perspective, but a body language and just culture perspective. And it just was obvious that there was something that was going on externally that was affecting what was happening on the court. And you thought that Nebraska basketball had gotten over that and had figured out whatever the heck they needed to figure out, and they put together a really, really good win streak that put them firmly back into the NCAA picture, and you thought that those problems were past you until yesterday. Well, if we're being honest, until Sunday, where they showed those issues against Northwestern and had a miraculous comeback, and then they once again showed those issues yesterday when they lost a game by 17 points that frankly were never in. And I'm sure there is cause for concern for you listening to this. I'm sure and look, there are reasons up and down the list as to why you shouldn't have a ton of confidence in this basketball team moving forward. I still do. I still have confidence in this team. I still believe in this team's ability. I still think that they're going to have a shot to beat Michigan on Monday at Pinnacle Bank Arena. I still think that they have the chops to rattle off 3 wins of the next 4, because the height of this team has had some pretty impressive wins. The height of this team beat Creighton on the road. The height of this team beat Oregon on the road. The height of this team beat UCLA at home. The height of this team beat an Illinois team at home. When they are playing their best, they can compete with just about anybody. And it's just so frustrating to watch this team, because it's almost as if it's in their own heads, that if they go out and they compete and they play the game that they need to play, and Fred Hoiberg has been screaming that from the mountaintops for what it seems like forever now, but if they do that, they have a shot to be a very, very good team. At the same time, the lows of this team are so low, but the highs of this team are so high. The variance, I've never seen a team with so much variance ever. You can flip a coin, and you can get a Nebraska team that frankly can beat a lot of teams in the country. You flip a coin, and you get a Nebraska team that can lose to Penn State in an empty arena on the road. And it's a scary, scary position to be in if you're Fred Hoiberg's group. It's a tough spot to be in terms of being a fan and rooting for this team, knowing that the heights that they can reach just aren't consistently getting there. But that's where we are. And frankly, that's where we've been for Nebraska basketball. And I think that's probably where we're going to be until the end of the season. So until next time, you've been listening to Take 5.